top of the mini deck. Yeah, Andreas. Yeah, that's my boy. I miss doing yoga up there on the mini deck. We got to make that happen again. Good morning, Mom. So I'm going to record this live. It's actually going to get pulled after screen, and I'm going to add a bunch of cards to it. Because what we're going to do today is I'm going to lead a flow of the 10 essential daily poses, or an essential daily flow. And you can refer back to this as many times as you'll need to, but this is episode 40, and like I said, recording it live, and this is still in the post-production mode to produce a few other things that I think are important, because I think many people want to learn yoga, not just be led to yoga. So this is a great way to start. My brother, I think, has been doing yoga with me a little bit, and I'm really happy to see that. Maybe you're starting to practice, or maybe you know someone who's starting to practice. So thanks for bearing with me if you're watching this live. Not any of my mumbo jumbo, because like I said, I want to try to cut it down to about 30 minutes because that is what an essential practice should and could be, is something that's efficient and something that you can do in a reasonable amount of time. And I think that this would typically take me like 15 minutes to go through if I'm going through it just to get the poses in and get those articulations in my body. Yeah, so I'm rambling quite a bit, but I figure I can because most people, as this gets put up on YouTube, they're not going to see any of this. So I'm just going to sip my coffee for a few minutes and see who's around. I'm taking the fucking pressure off me today. This is day 40 in a row of teaching a live yoga class of like an hour long. So today, like I said, I want to focus on leaving something on YouTube that people can always refer back to as this is the essential flow. So Andreas, I'm so happy you're here, man. I don't know who else is here, but we're going to get it done, because that's what we do here. We get it done. And where is it? Boom. Yoga. All right. So, stepping onto your mat. Look down at your feet, point your toes straight forward. Now, how far apart should your feet? How close should they be? Notice I didn't burst into flames here, and I didn't blow up right here. Okay, so if your feet are together, if your feet are apart, it's not that big of a deal, but what you will feel is if your heels are underneath your butt cheeks instead of here and here, then you're going to feel more stable. And that's a great place to start, because stability is also going to depend on our ability to balance on one leg, or our ability to balance when our feet are not underneath us, which they typically are in a lunge. So looking down at your feet, point your toes straight forward. And we're going to go through a very simple salutation. We're going to go through 10 essential yoga poses, and I hope you enjoy it. Reach your hands up, take a deep breath in, hinge forward, and place fingertips on the floor. And go ahead and move around for a moment here, shifting your weight from foot to foot and pushing one butt cheek back at a time. So you feel that little swivel in your hips. That means you're starting to loosen up the low back and loosen up the hips just a little bit. Just putting some sass in your ass. Hands on the knees, flatten your back. As you exhale, plant your fingertips, lift your left foot into the air, and step it back. Reach your right hand. Should I do that now? Nah, we're going to do this. Reach your right hand up. Look up for your right thumb. Reach down. Step back. Now you can lower your chest to the floor and come up into a cobra if you like. My preference would be just to touch your chest to the floor and then push back away. You can always lower your knees and do that. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to go to the side. And if I'm in a plank, I can lower my knees first, touch the chest to the floor, push the chest off the floor, and then lift the knees and press back. So we're in downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up and step your right foot forward. Reach both hands into the air. Now, no sooner are the hands going to go up than we're going to place them on the floor and lift the left leg. So we're balancing on one foot, but you got your hands on the floor, maybe, right? You can always place a block in front of your mat if the floor is too far away. Your left leg, the one that's lifted in the air, can be bent or straight. I like it bent. That way when I'm trying to touch my big toe to the ceiling, my hamstring starts to work with my glute. And then the left foot steps forward. Rise up. Fold forward. So this first movement pattern is called a sun salutation. It's designed to get your body loosened up and warm and more pliable. Lift your right leg up and step back. Reach your left hand into the air. Look up at your left thumb and reach down. Step back. Remember, knees can go down first. Touch your chest to the floor, push up and press back. Left leg lifts and we step through. Reach both hands up. Now you may feel a little bit wobbly here. This is really normal to feel this way, that you're kind of, whoa. That's because your feet aren't under you. Your feet are in front of you and behind you. So if we're not used to lunging, then it feels very wobbly. It feels very unstable. The good news is we get better at what we repeatedly do. That's the law of specificity. So if we keep doing this, we're going to get pretty good at it pretty quick. Hands in the air, take a deep breath in. Exhale, reach down and lift the right leg up. And again, your right leg can be straight or your right knee can be bent, big toe reaching for the ceiling. But hug the right knee to the center so that you're not turning your hips open like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, but your hips are still neutral. Push into the left heel and step your right foot next to your left. Rise all the way up. And we're going to repeat that pattern. Exhale, hinge forward. Left leg lifts, and we step back. Inhale, the right hand high. Exhale, plant it. Step back. Lower your knees first if necessary. Otherwise, touch your chest to the floor, push up, and press back. The right leg lifts again, and we step forward. Both hands reach up. And on the exhale, the hands reach down. The left leg lifts. And as we exhale, we step forward. And as we inhale, we rise up. Exhale, fold, and we repeat the pattern again. Right leg lifts, and we step it back. Left hand reaches up. We plant the hand and step the left foot back. Bend the elbows, and then push the floor away. Press back, left leg lifts. Step through. Reach both hands up. Lift the back heel as you lift the hands. As you exhale, reach for the floor and bend your right knee. Inhale, press through the left heel, lift the right big toe. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, rise up. We're going to do one more set. Exhale, fold forward. Left leg lifts. Exhale it back. Inhale, right hand high. Exhale, plant the hand. Step back. Chest to the floor. Push up. press back. Lift the right leg up, step through, reach both hands up. Exhale, plant the hands, lift the left leg. Inhale, push into right heel, lift left big toe. Exhale, step that left foot forward. Inhale, rise up. Last one, guys. Exhale, fold forward. Right leg lifts. Exhale, step back. Left hand to the ceiling, breathe in. Plant the left hand, step the left foot back. Touch your chest to the floor, push up, press back. Left leg lifts. Step through. Reach both hands up. Lean forward. Plant the hands. Lift the right leg. Inhale, push into left heel, lift the right big toe. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold forward. Left leg lifts. Step back. Now reach both hands into the air. Now we're going to be holding a lunge for the first time. So I want you to see that I'm actively lifting my back heel off the floor. I'm going to lift it as high as I can. This leg, I'm not straightening it, even though I'm working hard to get this leg straight. Right knee stays bent. This is our lunge. Is knee over ankle and trying to push the left hip forward, pull the right hip back. Hands are in the air. Now what we gain from doing this pose is a lengthening of myofascial line. That's muscle connected to other muscle through fascia, all the way from the shoulder and the collarbone, down the left side of the body to the left hip. So the higher the back heel and the straighter the back leg, the more we're going to put tension and release in that left hip. Now take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, hinge forward, hands at your heart. And we're going to twist to the right. Now I'm not dropping the elbow to the knee, even though you'll see that in a lot of yoga classes. And you're welcome to do that if you need to. I like to twist without the elbow touching the knee. I want to keep the heart elevated. If I go down, my spine starts to go into flexion. It doesn't twist well from flexion. That's when you're bent over. So what we want is our best neutral spine. So if we just lean forward and twist, we get our best opportunity to twist. So the first position, just to constantly be refreshing this information, was a lunge into a twist. From the twist, we go hands to the floor. So as you can see, the hands start up high, they come down to the center, and then they come down to the floor. So in this third position, we're just going to do a fold forward. This is only done on one side. If I step my left foot forward, I'm folding forward on both legs and stretching both back bodies at once. I want to focus on one at a time. So I'm just going to straighten the right leg. You can always hold a yoga block. Let me grab one of those. And if you have a yoga block, or if the floor is too far away and your back would round like mine is, like a turtle shell, if your hands are on the floor, either place your hands on a block or stack your hands on your shin so that not only are both of your legs straight, but your spine is relatively straight too. Your right foot is pushing your right hip back. Your left foot is trying to push your chest forward. So we're very active from the hips to the feet. Take one more breath and then release. We're going to step back and lie down on the belly. Now the right leg was just underneath us a second ago, right? It was in front of the chest. So once we step the right foot back, slide the hands forward and lift your right leg up into the air. Now you're using the opposing muscles. Lift your left hand and your right leg, push into your right hand. I'm going to say that again. Into your right hand, push into your left knee. Lift up with your left hand and your right leg. And then slowly bring those limbs back to the floor. Slide your hands back, pull your belly tight, and do a push-up. Press back into crouching cat. Lift your right leg up and step forward. Walk your hands to the left, 90 degrees. So in order for this flow to work, I got to turn away from the camera, but I want you guys to learn this flow. Go ahead and rise up. Turn your right foot out. I'm going to go to that front cam so you can see that my knee needs to press out so that I feel stable on my foot. When we turn our hips away from the top edge of the mat, our hips turning this way is not as important as taking this valgus out of the knee. That's when the right knee, or in this case, the right knee buckles inward. So we're going to pull it out, even if the left hip comes slightly forward. If you have tight hips, that's not a crime, but you can work on that, right? We get good at what we repeatedly do. Now, with my hips facing the long edge, I'm going to turn my chest to the long edge. So I'm not trying to turn forward to this leg. I just want the knee to go out. What I'm trying to do is turn my feet 90 degrees and have my hip open 90 degrees. The hands reach out, palms flip up. This is Warrior Two pose. This is the first pose in our hip opening, basic hip opening. And then from here, we're going to go into a triangle. So what I'm going to do is switch back to that camera, even though it's on my back. Straighten the right leg and tilt the heart over the right foot. Place the right hand on the shin or grab onto your yoga block. Reach the left hand up. So my right foot is pushing into the floor. And that's pushing my right hip back away from the top edge of the space. I'm lifting through the crown of the head and drawing the heart away from the tailbone. What I'm trying to do is make my spine straight, and that's why reaching for the floor may not be where you want to be, because if my back rounds here, my spine is sort of curving over like a rainbow, well, that means my back and the muscles that support my back are just surrendering to the tension in the hamstring. So it's better to create more tension and pull the heart forward than let it droop down. Now bend the right knee and reach the right hand up. You can place your left hand on your hip or slide your left hand behind your low back. Slowly lower the left shoulder. And most people typically tend to turn their chest towards the ceiling and look up. But I want you to just keep looking at the wall in front of your chest, in front of your hips. Now, if you need to, this left hand can be on your left thigh for support. If we lack some essential core strength here, this hand back here is going to put a lot of pressure on the back, so we may need support of hand on thigh. That's okay. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, cartwheel your hands to the top of your space and step left foot to right. Slowly rise up with a nice flat back. Now there's a lot of things we can add to this flow. Like I said, this is an essential 10 pose flow. Exhale, fold forward. And we're going to do the other side. Lift your right foot and step it back and reach both hands up into your lunge. So from the side, you can see that even though I'm facing the short edge of my mat, if I plant that heel or if I allow the tightness in my hips to dictate where my belly button faces, it might be turning out a little bit to the corner of the mat. So I want you to pull the right inner thigh back. This is your steering leg. Your back leg steers like a steering wheel. And if I rotate the inner thigh back, it pulls my right hip forward. Reach both hands up, lift the back heel high. So after our sun salutation pattern, that's all the breath and movement that we did for the first, say 5 minutes. This is our first pose, a lunge. Remember, your feet aren't under you. They're in front of you and behind you. And if you feel unstable or wobbly here, it means there's not enough weight in your front heel or you haven't lifted the back one enough, okay? Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, lean forward, hands at your heart, and we're gonna twist to the left. When you're twisting, you always wanna twist to the leg in front of you. So remember, if you go from a lunge to a twist, we don't twist to this leg here that I can't typically see when I'm looking forward. I always twist to the leg in front. So turning to the left. Remember, you can bring your elbow to your knee, but then the pose sort of diminishes. It gets diluted because it's hard to rotate from flexion when my back is round. So if I lift my heart, it's harder. But I also have the opportunity to teach my body where rotation truly is coming from. It's coming from the trunk. Take a deep breath and untwist. Grab your block if you need it, place it behind your heel. The great thing about a yoga block is it can be tipped to any orientation, whatever you need. Remember, if you do not have a block, stack your hands on your shin and try to slide your mat out from underneath your right foot with your left foot. That means your left foot is trying to slide forward and push you back as a result. Now lift your tailbone and pull the collarbones forward so your back is a little bit flatter. That's a little bit more tension on your back body. Release. Hands come to the floor. The left leg was just underneath me, so as I step back and lie down, I'm going to lift the leg into the air behind me. Slide the hands forward. Push into the right knee, lift the left leg, lift the right hand. I'm pushing into my left palm, and I'm pushing into my right knee. When I push into the right knee, you'll literally see my groin come off the floor. So I'm literally pushing down to get my groin and hip bones off the floor. Release. Slide your hands back. Tighten your belly. Push up. And press back into down dog or crouching cat. Lift your left leg up and step through. Turn to your right and rise up. Now we're going to do our 3 hip open positions on the other side. Turn the left foot out and bend the left knee. That's how we know that we're starting to access the hips, okay? The hips open in relationship to how close the heart gets to the leg or to the floor and when the feet are turned away from each other. So when I turn my right foot out, as soon as I turn my foot out, this right hip wants to come forward. And then when I bend the knee, that creates even more tension. So the work is to try to open the hips to this long edge, but still keep this knee above this ankle. And if getting this knee above this ankle means this right hip comes forward a little bit, we're okay with that. We'd rather have that than hips square to the long edge and this left knee buckling in, all right? Reach your hands away from your chest, lift your heart. I'm a big fan of closing my eyes every time I'm in this pose because I'm always trying to add more wiring between the brain and the body and balance and stability. So when you close your eyes, even if you're a little bit unstable, then what you're doing is reducing one of your reliances on feedback, being the eyes and the information that they take in. And having closed the eyes, it sort of eliminates horizontal lines, which our eyes are always looking for to determine our balance. That's the ocular part of our balance system. Now your right hand can either come to your thigh or go behind your back. Your left hand reaches for the sky. I'm sorry, we're coming into triangle. Tilt your pelvis. Triangle comes after warrior two, typically. There's no reason why it has to, but like I said, I'm trying to teach you an essential flow that you could do every day for the rest of your life. It's simple choreography. That's why we're focusing on 10 poses. Even though there's a lot of movement between those poses, let's get down that first 10. So triangle is our second hip open pose. I'm pulling the collarbones over the short edge of my mat. I'm not trying to lean back per se, but I'm not trying to surrender to tight hips either. So we want to try to stack these stacked shoulders over the left leg. Right hand reaches high. And then we can take the right hand to the thigh or behind the back. Left hand reaches up. Square the shoulders and hips off as best you can to the long edge of the mat, mindful of this knee. And remember, keep your eyes and chest facing this long edge instead of turning away from the edge to the ceiling and looking up. We want this move to be purely about lateral flexion. That's your body bending sideways. Extension is when we come into a back bend. We want to maintain lateral flexion. So keep your eyes on the wall, your chest facing the wall. Take a deep breath and cartwheel your hands. Right foot steps to left, and we rise up with a nice flat back. And here we are. So, just a quick review. We did 3 hip neutral poses. Lunge, twist, fold forward. We went down to the floor, across the spine. We stepped the right foot forward, and we did 3 hip open poses. Warrior two, triangle, reverse. So that's 7 poses that we've done. And now here we are at the top of our mat. So not bad, right? You did yoga and you did it in pretty quick order. Reach both hands up into the air. Exhale, fold forward. Step both feet back and come into a plank. From here, we're going to come into our side plank. Turn your heels to the left. And notice I'm on the edge of both feet, on the outer edge of the left foot, inner edge of the right foot. Right hand reaches up. I can always step my feet closer to my hands and push myself back and lift my hips up higher. And I'm actually even more stable. Or you can keep your feet back here, and your body's essentially in a straight line. We're going to plant that right hand, lift the heels, and the heels turn to the right, and the left hand goes up. And again, I can push back, and when my feet get really flat on the floor, then I can start to do a lot of really cool, fun things, right? But we're just covering the basics today. We can stay on the edge of both feet and grip the floor with the right hand. Release and lower the knees. Sit back to your heels. So we did lunge. We did a twist. We did a fold forward. We did a cross core lying on our belly to strengthen the back. We did a warrior two. We did a triangle. We did a reverse warrior. We did a side plank. Right? Now we're going to do a basic seated twist and placing your butt on the center of your mat. It doesn't really matter if you're facing the short edge or the long edge, but we're going to take a seat and plant the right foot. Capture the knee on the inside of the elbow and place the right hand behind. I'm going to pivot 90 degrees so that you can see, again, that my body will not twist well if I'm slouched, if my spine's in flexion. So I have to lift my collarbones up so that my back is neutral. And when I place my right hand behind me, I'm only going to place the fingertips. If I go palm flat, I can slump into the back and the shoulder. And again, it doesn't rotate well from there. If I come onto the fingertips, I'm going to push shoulder away from the ear, make my chest taller and prouder, and I'll achieve more rotation. What yoga really is a mechanism for increasing the capacity of your connective tissue. In other words, to improve your body's ability to move well without restriction or pain. Now we're going to twist to the other side. So plant your left foot, thread your right foot through, and capture the left knee on the inside of the right elbow. I'm only going to place my fingertips behind me, and when I push my fingertips into the mat to leave my fingerprints, my shoulder moves away from my ear, my heart moves forward and lifts up, tighten the belly, and then we can turn to the left. And release. Now that's 9 poses. Let's go over those one more time. We did a lunge. We did a twist. We did a fold forward. Then we stepped back, lie down on the belly, and we did a cross core, lifting opposite hand, opposite leg. And then we stepped forward again, and we did warrior 2. We did triangle. We did reverse warrior. And you can just scrub back and watch this as many times as you want. And then we did side plank, and we did seated twist. That's 9 poses. And the last one is sort of a dealer's choice. That depends on how you get your rest and relaxation. I prefer meditation, so I usually end in what's called Sukhasana. This is a pose in which you're seated and your legs are folded in front of you, but they're not feet under you, which would cut off blood flow to your feet, and then in a couple of minutes you'd be trying to get out of that. So Sukhasana literally means easier, which means it's a little bit easier on your body. And it doesn't mean it's easy, it means it's a little bit easier than this. You can always place a pillow or a block underneath your butt. If you lift the hips, it'll ease the tension in the hips, and the knees can come down a little bit more. So if you find yourself butt on the floor and your knees want to do this and your back wants to round like this, then go ahead and sit on something, all right? Now, having said all of that, you might be a Shavasana type of a person, and that's just lying down in what we call corpse pose, lying on your back with your arms at your sides and letting your entire body go limp. So this is a great way if your body needs to rest and to try to integrate the information that you gave it through the practice. And as I said, I'm a meditation guy, so I like to sit up and rest the hands on the knees. So those are our 10 essential poses for our practice. You can add in a bunch of things through that, and if you watch a lot of these videos, you're going to see different techniques and how to put poses and movements together in combination. And the way to think about that is like chords on a guitar. You can play one string, that's an isolated movement, or you can play all of the strings and play a chord. So that's what combinations or clusters of poses offer us. So I also showed you a cluster, which was lunge, twist, fold forward, and warrior 2, triangle, reverse warrior. Those are important clusters to remember in your yoga practice. I hope you got something out of watching this video today, and I really appreciate you being here. We have a bunch of videos on our channel and on our website. Also on our website, which is www.stronger.yoga, we have a lot of research papers on the effectiveness or lack of effectiveness of yoga. And we're big on the science and we're big on the research. So if you want to check out some of those articles and learn a little bit about yoga, that's a great resource for teachers and people looking to dive a little bit deeper. If you want to support our channel, you can become a member on Patreon. You can always leave us a donation on the Cash App or on Venmo, and I really appreciate you guys. Please feel free to stick around here and meditate or lie down and rest as long as you wish. We're here every single day at Stronger Yoga Academy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Namaste.